Hi guys, it's Dr. George, and I'm so excited, so very excited. So I have special guests tonight. So as you join in, of course, you say hello. So I have two books now. A while back, I had an author when I was doing Facebook Live, and it was really hard to get the authors on. And it was Frank Murphy. And I don't know if you remember this book, but it was A Boy Like You. And I read this book, and I was all teared up. So let me tear it up. So let me tell you about Frank and what he does. Every time Frank writes a book, he autographs me a book and then he gives me one to gift. So I gift this one to my oldest great nephew, Gabriel. The second one he wrote was A Girl Like You, and he wrote in it as well, right here. And I never read them, so I haven't read it yet. And then I gifted it to the superintendent. And then he wrote A Teacher Like You, and he gave me that book, and he signed it, and he gifted it to Miss Rawls, who is also here. So you'll meet all of them. Hi, Mike. How are you? So I'm going to bring on all of my special guests now. Frank, Kayla. So these are, and now I'm going to bring in Miss Rawls. So we had Dr. Allen on earlier, but she was very busy, but she did pop in. So Frank, meet Miss Rawls. Kayla, meet Miss Rawls. She's the one that won the book that night. Hi, Barry from Canada. So she was the one. So I'll give you a chance. He's a teacher as well, Miss Rawls.
Hi,
Hi,
I think
Miss
I'm
Ross.
frozen. Hello.
Nice to meet you virtually.
Nice to meet you. It's such an honor.
What grade do
So
you
hi.
teach?
Go ahead.
Fourth grade.
Okay, I teach sixth grade in a K to six school. I've taught fourth grade though. I loved fourth grade.
Yes.
And I have a couple of people. Ava R and Pop Pop are here. And hello, Rochelle, because I have my live page up, so I have her on as well. And Billy Cisneros and Miss Bridges is watching. So I have a couple of people. So we're going to get started. And Miss Duke, that's one of our fellow teachers there. There's another teacher. And hi, Laura, how are you? So we're going to get started with the first book, A Girl Like You. Okay, so that's the first one we're going to read. So this is the one that you gifted to Dr. Allen, A Girl Like You. So let me get that off. And I never read them in advance, so this is my first time reading it. So he always sends me gifts too when he does. He is currently reading, currently writing, and then he always sends me stickers as well. So I always get little things like that. So let's get started. Let's see. And he always reminds me to be kind. So let's see. There are billions and billions and billions of people in the world, but you are the only you there is. And the world needs a girl like you. The world needs a girl to be strong and caring, to be brave and bold. Maybe your brave is running for student council. Maybe your bold is standing up for yourself. Brave girl, try new things, find your passion, find your talents. And then we have Kayla here. She's the artist. I want you guys to let that sink in while I flip through these wonderful pages. I want that to sink in. Hello, Miss Duke and Miss Duke and Mrs. Duke. Hi, Mabry. Work hard at hard things. Mistakes are essential to success. So stick with it. Whether it's fixing something that's broken, lifting weights, ice skating, or studying the moon and the stars. And I love that you're sharing the pictures. Hi, Jennifer. Put your mind and heart into your dreams and make them happen. Sometimes you will fail. When you do, pick yourself up and try again. Each time you'll become tougher and stronger. Thanks for showing those pages. Hi, Miss Fehrenbacher. Bold girls, speak up. It's okay to disagree with people. Our differences teach us about one another. It doesn't matter how loud or quiet, tall or small, young or how old you are. Your thoughts and opinions matter. Be clear about how you feel. Choose kind friends, friends who let you be you. Be a kind friend too. Take turns, share. Sometimes you'll fight. That's okay. Do say sorry when you're wrong or hurtful. Don't make a habit of saying sorry for no reason. That is such a valuable lesson. Hi, Virtuous and Jennifer. When a friend is hurting, ask what they need. You might give advice, you might just listen. Sometimes they'll simply need you by their side. When a friend is proud or excited, celebrate with them. Thoughtful girl, have empathy. Friendships are like gardens. Tend them well and watch them grow. Smart girl, take care of your heart. You may feel bored or lonely or sad. Read a good book. Volunteer to help. Get up early and watch the sunrise. Write a story. Write your story. And if your feelings get too big, reach out. Ask for help. Talk to someone who loves you. Embrace and care for the body you are in. Your unique traits are what make you especially beautiful and especially you. What matters most is the beauty your actions and words bring to the world. People will remember these, and you should too. Radiant girl, stand tall. Wear what feels right. Silly socks or panda ears. Sparkly shoes or polka dot pants. A peace sign, a flag, a flower, a rainbow. Wear your hair up or wear your hair down. Pigtails or ponytails, all the way out, covered or all the way gone. Your clothes and hair help you express yourself. So whatever you wear it for you. Magnificent girl, be proud. Your smile can light up a room. Take pride in being the one and only you, unlike anyone else ever before. And remember, the world needs a girl, a caring and strong girl, a bold and brave girl, an unstoppable girl, a girl like you. So this book, so we're going to get started with the introductions. We just jump right in. It's like a movie when you give a little clip and then you go back and you dress it up. Look at your cute little dog in the back. Hi, Joelle. So what inspired you to write this book, Frank?
So first, I wrote A Boy Like You, and then people came to me and said, you need to write a girl like you. You need to write a girl like you. And I didn't expect to write any more. I didn't expect it to become a series. And I'm not a girl, so I needed help. So I decided that I could write it if I had my best friend write it with me. So I picked my wife, Carla Murphy, to write it, and she was perfect. It was great to collaborate with her. So, and then we just decided, the Sleeping Bear team, to, if we're going to keep going with this, that I would always choose, they would help me choose together as a team, a co-author who brings a different dimension of diversity each time, whether it's the fact that I needed a girl to help me, a female to help me, or with a teacher like you, I wanted to have someone who I've taught with for years, who also is a primary teacher, because I teach 6th grade, and Barbara Dan teaches 2nd grade. And I had taught with her before. She's also a first-generation Korean American, so she brings that to the table too. And in August, A Friend Like You comes out, and I co-wrote that with a good friend of mine, Sharnae Gordon, who is a mom. She's not a teacher. She's a book influencer, African-American, mom, wife, great girl. So everyone I have write one of these with me, I want it to be someone who is different than me in multiple ways. So A Girl Like You was really important for me to write too, because boys and girls have different challenges, I think. They have some of the same, but some that are different. And it was important for Carla and I to get really messages that help girls sort of manage and navigate the world, right? One thing that we were really serious about getting in there and emphatic was the part about saying sorry, to not say sorry if you don't need to, because I've noticed in almost 30 years of teaching and coaching girls that often girls will say sorry when they don't need to say sorry. It's important to say sorry when you need to admit something, but you just don't need to say sorry all the time. So there's so much we wanted to do. I'm glad you liked it. I hope you loved it. And it's just an important message. And Kayla's amazing. I always say this every time now. I don't really write stories in these books. I write advice and mantras and quotes to live by. Kayla's the one who really crafts the story with the beautiful illustrations. So if you watch her illustrations closely, there's always story embedded, especially in The Teacher Like You. And A Friend Like You coming up with the dogs. I think Kayla did her best job ever with the 2 dogs in the story. That's coming up in August. I'll make sure you get a copy, Belinda, early too. Kayla's an amazing storyteller with her art.
Love that. So Kayla, we got to hear from you. And Frank Mike said if you need someone with autism for your books, ask him.
That's a good idea. Thanks.
And Pancho just said he ordered it. Miss Duke said, I love all the different personalities. And the other Miss Duke said, this is so you, Dr. George, love it. So how did you come up with these drawings?
I just wanted to reflect the world and all the girls in the world, which it's impossible to make everyone feel seen in the book, but I'm hoping that there's enough specificness and variety that everyone can identify with someone or recognize a friend of theirs or a family member and feel somehow that this book is speaking directly to them.
Well, I did find myself, she has a little bit more hair than me, but you see her with the natural hair. She's got more than me. So I went through and I saw in this book is a girl like you, but in there it's all kinds of people. And then those girls stand out, you know, just that one little girl with that dog. And I hope that's the friend because he's so cute. But I absolutely love that. So now, hi from Muna. Hi, Lucy. So now we're going to get started with the next book. Now, all of us, and this is your mantra, it is, Miss Duke. So here we're getting started with this book, A Teacher Like You. Now, I've not read it. Now, Miss Rawls tuned in one night and she won this book. And he had already wrote, do you have your book and the message he put in it, Miss Rawls? What did he put in your book?
I do. It says, to a wonderful professor who Dr. George adores, teach.
Yes, and that's so true. And I didn't know who would win it, but it's so true, Ms. Rawls. She is so adorable. She's a writing teacher as well, go figure, and a reading teacher. So she won the book, and Ms. Fehrenbacher saying love it. She's our art teacher. So we're going to get started with A Teacher Like You by Frank Murphy and Barbara Dan, illustrated by Kayla Harren. And Harren, is it Harren?
Yeah, like the bird.
Like the bird. All right, got it. Hi, Miss Bridges. So here we go. And here's my message for Belinda Teach. All right. There are so many teachers in the world, teachers of every subject and style, but there's only one teacher like you. And the world needs a teacher just like you. Now, Ms. Rawls, why don't we read every other page? So you read these two. That would only be fair.
I'm sorry, my kids are.
That's okay.
All right. And we're on. Okay. The world needs a teacher to be loving and accepting, to be full of wonder and inspiration. I needed a teacher like you. Every day, you were happy to see us, and you always knew when I needed a hug.
You read us your favorites. Together, we soared through story after story. Together, we learned to see life from new perspectives.
You taught us to be creative and to be proud of how we express ourselves, the way we write our names, the way we draw our dreams and make them come true. You encouraged us to make each day a masterpiece.
You practiced with us, each problem or experiment, each swing or shot. And each time I made a mistake, you reminded me I was getting smarter. Every step of the way, you reminded us to set goals and make plans, and that's how I succeeded.
When life got scary, you were still there. I needed a teacher like you, with lessons that kept me focused, projects that let my imagination soar, and reminders to breathe in and out, in and out.
You gave your time when you didn't have to, showing up at our games and recitals. You led us to volunteer, watching you give back, inspired us to give more.
Every day you created a safe place. You let us be curious and taught us how to ask questions. We felt confident to raise our hands. You saw my potential. I needed a teacher like you.
You shared your heart and made ours grow. You listened when no one else would. You taught us to connect with each other. You guided us to accept differences and value our own. We learned to think before we act, we speak and act. We learned we can't take back what we say and do. We learned to listen first. We learned from watching you. You taught us to be leaders.
You cared, you comforted, You challenged and you let me be me. I needed a teacher like you. You said I was smart, so I was. You said you believed in me, so I did too. You were a hero to me.
And I hope you know the world needs teachers, inspiring teachers, accepting teachers, loving teachers, teachers just like you. So I love that. Absolutely love that book. Now, before we talk about a teacher like you, I noticed in the back of Girl Like You, Miss Rawls, just in case you were wondering, there's a little writing activity in the back. I'll bring it so you can see the writing activity that they can do. Did the Boy Like You have a writing activity as well?
I forget.
I don't
It
think
didn't.
so.
It didn't, but we could definitely make a writing activity. So, Kayla, I have a question. The teacher like you, where did you get all these teachers from? You nailed it.
Oh, I made most of them up, except there are two very important teachers. Well, there's actually a couple in the back, but there's this teacher who might seem familiar. I did a little stalking on social media to look at pictures of them. Yeah, this teacher. I thought I can't illustrate a book about teachers without including two amazing teachers, two of the best that I know, which I'm sure there's many more teachers that should be in this book too.
And that's Barbara Dan,
the co-author.
That's Barbara Dan.
Mhm.
The hugging. I absolutely love it. And there I was. Look at me with my little teeny weeny afro. I made this book. You didn't even know it.
Yay.
Linda, before she became a principal. So let's talk about what inspired you to do a teacher like you and what inspires your drawing, Kayla. That's for both of you.
So A Teacher Like You, Barbara and I wrote it about a year before the pandemic broke out. So we had that plan and we had already written it. And then when it got close to the pandemic and we were doing last revisions, so sometimes we'll still do revisions about line breaks and maybe tweaking some lines here and there when we get Kayla's sketches and then color illustrations. So Sarah Rocket, our amazing editor, and the team, we decided we have to have some sort of gentle nods to the pandemic. So we sort of wrote in there, and then Kayla, again, with her amazing storytelling abilities with illustrations, she put some things in there. Like there is one really sort of clear one where the kid's on Zoom, looks like he's on Zoom, and then the teacher, I'll let Kayla speak to the teacher who's visiting the child at the front door, which I've done a lot of times this year. I'm now, all my kids are back now, but throughout the year, it was a hybrid situation where initially all my kids were at home and I was teaching from my classroom through Zoom. And then slowly throughout the year, more kids came. But go ahead, Kayla, you can speak about that picture too. I know you.
I think I saw that picture of you visiting kids and like you were on the grass and then they were standing at their house. I think that is what inspired that picture because I wanted to definitely like allude to that. And I just saw so many amazing ways that teachers were reaching out to their kids when the quarantine first happened. So I wanted to mention that for sure, but then also keep it vague so that it could last a little bit longer when we're all happy and back in school. So that's why the kid's arm is in a cast. So maybe the teacher's just doing that extra step to do a home visit and check in on a student. Maybe it's pandemic related, or maybe it's just because that's what teachers do. They go out of their way to make children feel special.
Yeah. It's beautiful. So the other thing was, Belinda, we wanted to, Barbara and I taught for years together, 16 years, and we different grades together, 4th and 6th grade before. And we really wanted to sort of inject into the story things about social emotional learning and growth mindset and leadership lessons that we've done. So some of the things that you see mentioned in there are actually like legit leadership lessons we taught in class. So those, and we wanted to remind teachers of why they got into teaching and to help them, persevere, and not just through COVID, but before COVID, just, this is why you teach. It's for kids first, to keep them first healthy and safe, and then to inspire them to grow their minds and their hearts. Absolutely
love that. So now the big question, where can they buy A Girl Like You, A Boy Like You, A Teacher Like You? Where can they purchase those?
Anywhere books are sold. It could be Barnes & Noble. It could be independent bookstores, Amazon. I prefer independent bookstores. I try to shop at local independent bookstores to help them, especially through these times, survive. I know my local bookstore where my sons live is Newtown Bookshop. And I just always Actually, no matter where you are in the country, if you order from the Newtown Bookshop, and I can send you a link later, Belinda. I can go into that store and it'll get shipped to wherever you are. I think for free, and it'll be signed by me.
Oh, now that is so sweet.
Can't get that from Amazon.
I'll make sure to put that link in there so people can order that book. And you, Pancho, you ordered it right before he could sign it. He ordered it already.
Yeah, Amazon's cool though. I order off Amazon too sometimes, but I try to always support independent bookstores. I know I visited what was that shop? The Red Balloon, Kayla, in near you?
Red Balloon, St. Paul, Wild Rumpus, Minneapolis.
Yeah, they have signed copies by you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you don't have a local independent bookstore in your town, you can go to bookshop.org and you're still supporting independent bookstores.
Love that. So I do have a question. It's a hard question. Which is your favorite?
Do you have a favorite?
I'll let Kayla answer first.
It's probably going to be the same as yours because my favorite is always the one I'm working on or the one I just finished. Because I'm really excited about A Friend Like You, a lot because of the dogs in it, but also that I feel like I get a little bit better each book, like skill wise personally. So I feel like proud of the illustrations in A Friend Like You, but I'm really proud of the cover of A Teacher Like You. It's a little bit different than the other ones, and there's kind of a story about that. The cover used to was going to look like this from the title page. That's what the cover illustration was because it's more in line with the first two. And then because I get to work with a group of people at Sleeping Bear Press and we're all a team and everyone has their input and they show it to sales and marketing and we all talk about what's the best fit, they thought maybe we should try something a little more dynamic, a little more kid focused than just having adults standing. So then I got to brainstorm new ideas and then came up with this one. So this one is my favorite cover, I think. A Teacher Like You.
So, I love that. And I'm looking at Ms. Rawls. Ms. Rawls has at home a boy like you and a girl like you. She literally does. And so while she's a teacher, she has two little ones. So she has the mute anytime she's on mute. You hear her kids, but she literally has a boy like you and a girl like you. But what were you going to say, Frank?
No, I was going to say, boy like you. Kayla's right. It's always the book that you're working on, and A Friend Like You right now is my favorite. It's like having kids, right? You don't have a favorite, or having puppies. It's the same. But my favorite cover is A Friend Like You. Kayla just, I don't know why it's different, but I just love it so much. But there is a special place in my heart for A Boy Like You. I love the main character in A Boy Like You. I love the dog because it looks like my dog Jumper. And I don't know, because A Boy Like You was really important for me. I really fought hard for it to be published. And I wrote that at a time when the world really needed that, I think. And it still does. I don't want to get too heavy about some of the reasons I wrote it, but I'll give you one heavy one that's okay to talk about here with kids. A lot of boys that I've taught for over almost 30 years now, sometimes they go out to recess and they sort of feel undervalued because recess is dominated by sports. So I sort of wrote it in part for boys who don't love the sports aspect of recess. They maybe love Pokemon more, or they love crafts. So I wanted them to feel sort of wanted and needed at school. And I've seen it for years where kids, I go outside to recess all the time. I might sit on a bench. I've told this before. And I always think of this one kid who didn't love sports, but he loved Pokemon. And I had no Pokemon skills. I would sit on the bench with him and just quiz him with his book about Pokemon. And he loved that I went out there with him. So it made him feel valued at recess.
And the kids are getting shout outs.
Hey.
Oh. Yeah, they're getting shout outs. And Ms. Duke said your children are precious. Thank you for all that you do for our scholars. You're amazing. Yes, she is. So this is my favorite part of Tucked In Tuesdays. It's the takeaway from each book. So the first book we're going to do is A Girl Like You. And so every time, it never fails, Frank, you have a whole purpose of why you wrote the book. And people perceive the book and have a whole different perception. So we're going to go first. Ms. Rawls, what is your biggest takeaway from A Girl Like You?
My biggest takeaway would be to love who you are, be who you are, and be able to, or love the way you express yourself, whatever that is.
Love that. Kayla, Miss Harren?
The things that make you unique are what make you valuable, and you should be uniquely yourself and not try to be anyone else.
Love that. Frank?
So for a boy like you, the most important message for me was to be the you that makes you feel most alive. I fought for that line to stay in there. For a girl like you, it's simple, be bold. I write that in most A Girl Like You autographs. I always say be bold in different colors. I want girls to be bold.
Love that. My biggest takeaway in this book is no matter what you look like, we all have something in common as girls, and the main key is to empower one another. And so that's my biggest takeaway from this book. They supported each other no matter what they look like, no matter from what walks of life. They all stood together and they supported each other. I absolutely love that. All right, a teacher.
Dr. George, you're going to love A Friend Like You then, because A Friend Like You's message is all about that.
Oh my goodness, I'm probably going to cry. Now, a teacher like you, biggest takeaway, Ms. Rawls.
The biggest takeaway was that it was a refresher or reminder of why we do what we do as educators.
Love that. Ms. Harren?
That teachers matter so much more than they're even being thanked for on a daily basis. And they're just so valuable.
Love that. Frank?
I would say educators are essential. That's really what it's morphed into for me. But again, the biggest reason that Barbara and I wrote it were to sort of pay homage to teachers and remind them that you got in this to sort of, to touch eternity.
And I'm going to blend all your books because they all, not even if you didn't intend this, the girl like you and a boy like you, if they follow the steps, they'll have a career, possibly like a teacher. And the message that you had for the kids is still with the adults. Be true to who you are and be true to what you are. So I absolutely love that. But I have a confession. The person that made me know about you, Frank, I was at a conference.
I know.
Todd Nesloney had a boy like you, and he does multicultural books. He always says that he wants a book where the Muslim kid or the Black kid is not the villain. They're the superhero. The minority person is. And so your book was is a ton of pictures he has, and yours stood out, a boy like you. And someone won the book, and I was a little upset. And so I was like you, Ms. Harren, I stalked him on social media until I found him, and I connected, and I asked him, could he be on Tucked In Tuesdays? And I had already purchased the book. That's why I have two, but he sent me one and autographed it. And so that's how that friendship started, but it was through Todd Nesloney. So thanks, Todd, for that. So A Friend Like You is coming up, and guys, he's going to send me the website to get it autographed. So I always like to leave with a parting message. And I always say, if no one else tells you, Dr. George loves you. Ms. Rawls, do you have a parting message?
Just thank you for having me, and it was very nice to meet both of you.
Love that. Ms. Harren?
My parting message, if anyone ever asks me my advice is always be observant. So maybe that's my parting message. Just go out there and be observant.
Love that. And you capture that in your drawings.
Thanks.
Frank?
I will tell you one more little tidbit. Before A Boy Like You came out, even before I knew it would be Kayla, we were very intentional that the main character be a little Black boy. That I was intentional about that. I said this, and I don't even Kayla knew that, but she just did it anyway. So that's what's great about it. And one of my favorite pictures is this. So I'm going to say something that's maybe heavy to some people, but it shouldn't be, that Black Lives Matter. And I think if I had to pick something from A Boy Like You, that it's the perfect anthem for that. It's a perfect example, this book, because Black and brown lives matter. And there's a reason why the main character is a brown skin or Black boy on the cover.
I absolutely love that. And that is heavy, but it's something that our kids wear the mask, and they may not know what it means. They wear the mask sometimes, the shirts, and they may not know what it means, but they know it means something. They know that they fit the Black part, if nothing else. So I appreciate you saying that. And so we're going to end, but come back next time, this time 7:30, and look for the book, A Friend Like You, in August. And Miss Bridges said, I'm tearing up. Love this moment. Very powerful moment, Miss Bridges. Very powerful.
And Dr.
So
George, one of my favorite things that you do is what you
Okay.
wear. I love what you wear on the Tucked In Tuesdays.
Gotta wear a onesie. I mean, if I'm going to bed, if I'm tucking you in, I can't be sitting here in a suit. I have to be in my onesie. So I run home, get in my onesie, and literally go to bed after. Literally, I get in the bed. I literally tuck myself in. It's my early night. But thank you so much. Kayla and Frank, thank you so much. You've done a great job with all of these books. So we're going to say good night. And Kayla and Frank, if you can all stay on, I have a quick question for you. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Thanks,
Love
Ross.
you.
Thank
Bye,
you so
Ross
much.
family.